Hey there, it's time for lesson 3.6, associative property of multiplication. So what are some things you would associate with camping? When you think of camping, what are some things you think of? Did any of these things come to mind? Bears? Oh, I hope you haven't experienced those. But the outdoors, some trees, a campfire, a tent, owls, maybe a lantern, maybe chopping firewood. All those things are things we associate with camping. When we think about camping, they kind of group together, right? Associate means to connect with something else. So think about this. With what do you associate? For example, you are associated with Ben Franklin Elementary School. Are you also associated with your family or a team? Yeah, so you're associated with your family. People would say, oh, you belong to that family, like I belong to the Meucci family. Or maybe you belong to a soccer team or a softball team or a dance club. So all those are groups with which you associate. So when you associate with something, you group those things together. That's what that word means. So if I ask you about a farm, what would you associate with a farm? Here are some things, right? We have lambs, cows, milk, pigs, horses, a barn. Yeah, all those things. So when we talk about the associative property of multiplication, it shows that the way numbers are grouped does not change the product. Okay? In math, when we put parentheses around something, those parentheses are selfish parentheses, and they say, me, 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 me. So when those parentheses show up, they're yelling at you, me, 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 and you do what's inside those parentheses first. That's what parentheses mean in math. So those selfish parentheses insist we do them first. So for example, over here we have 6 times 2 is in parentheses, times 5. So first we're going to do 6 times 2, which equals 12. But we can't forget about that times 5. And then we solve 12 times 5 is 60. Over here, if we do the 2 times 5 first, because the parentheses are saying me, 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 me. So 2 times 5 is 10, as we wrote here. And the 6, don't forget about that 6. 6 times 10 is 60. That's the associative property of multiplication. Whatever's inside the parentheses you do first. And the associative property of multiplication shows that the way the numbers are grouped, I wrote the first, shows the way numbers are grouped does not change the product. Remember, friends, that a product is the answer in a multiplication problem. All right, so here's an I do. Use the associative property of multiplication to solve. Where should I place the parentheses to make this less difficult to solve? So if they gave us the problem 2 times 6 times 3, should I place the parentheses around the 6 and the 3? Well, 6 times 3 is 18. Or around the 2 and the 6. And as I said here with my Bitmoji, I would place them around the 2 and the 6 because I can mentally do 12 times 3, but 2 times 18, I can't do that mentally, so I would have to get out paper and pencil. So I would put the parentheses around the 2 and the 6 to make it a problem that I could solve in my head, okay? So you can decide where you want to put the parentheses, friends, sometimes. So here, let's do this one together, all right? If you don't, take out your whiteboard. If you don't have it, pause the video, go grab your whiteboard, and come back. All right, use the associative property of multiplication to solve. Where should we place the parentheses to make this less difficult to solve? All right, let me get out my trusty pen here. Let's do pink today. All right, so if I'm looking at this problem, I could put it here. And that means me, 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 me. So we would solve that first, and we would get 8 times 9. Oh, that's one of my math facts that I know. So I'm going to do 8 times 9. But let's say I chose to do it the other way. Let's say I chose to group these two together. Me, 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 me. 2 times 9 would be 18. 4 times 18, that's not one of my multiplication facts that I have memorized. So that makes it more difficult to solve. So if I were you, I would group here, like we did in the first place. Now someone's going to ask me, can we group the 4 and the 9? Well, you could rewrite this number problem and group the 4 and the 9, but then you're still looking at 4 times 9 is, put down my fourth finger, I have 36. So 4 times 9 is 36 times 2, not mental math. So I suggest you group this 4 times 2 is 8 times, whoops, I almost wrote plus 9, and that would equal 72. Okay? Let's try another one. Oh, look. Let's try this one. Use the associative property of multiplication to solve. Okay, so should I put the parentheses here and do 3 times 4 first, or should I put the parentheses here and do 4 times 12 first? What do you think? I think I'm going to put them here and do 3 times 4, which would give me 12. Great. And then I can't forget about this 12. So 12 times 12 is one of my multiplication facts. 12 times 12 is 144. Great. Great job. All right. That now they might have questions like this on your work today that says find the unknown number. And we can use the associative property to find the unknown number. So if I think, well, 2 times 4 is, let's see, if I write it like this, 2 times 4 times something equals 32. Well, what this is really asking me to do is think of this 2 times 4 first. Well, 2 times 4 is 8. And 8 times what would give me 32? Now, friends, this is where it's important that you know your math facts, because what they're really asking you is what's the other member of this fact family? What's this number right here? That's what this question's really asking you. Do you know it? Yes. Great. This number is a 4. So the unknown number here would be 4. Did you get that one? All right, let's try another one. Whoops, my pointer. Now I want you to pause this video, try to do this one on your own, and then come back and see if you got it right. Go ahead, press pause. All right, so here we go. If we group this, that would give us 12. Oh, these 12s. So what times 12 equals 84? I know the 12s always give us a little bit of trouble, those troublesome 12s. So 12 and 84, what's the missing number? Remember I showed you in class the other day that when you multiply by a 12, what you're really doing is you're going to multiply this number. What could you multiply by 12 that would give you a 4 or by 2 that would give you a 4 in the ones place? And then when you add 1 to it, would give you an 8. Remember? So really, I'm going to take 8 and take away 1. And that would give me a 7. Okay? So 2 times 7 is 14, yeah. And then I add 1 to 7 and I get 8. Great. So my answer here is 7. Did you come up with 7 as the unknown number? High five. Good job. Well, don't really hit your computer because that would be bad. Air high five. All right. Take out your math book. Go ahead and pause this video. We're going to be on page 169. Pause the video, get your math book, and come back. All right, here we go, math book. So this is on page 100. Actually, I said it, 169. We're actually on page, find my mouse again. 168 is where this guided practice problem is, page 168. Multiply, use the associative property. All right, so they put these handy little boxes in here to try to help us. Hopefully they help you and don't confuse you. So remember those parentheses say what? Me, 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 me. We have to do what's in those parentheses first, solve those first. So 3 times 3 equals 9, good. And we bring down the 5 because we didn't do anything with that 5 yet. Now we're going to multiply 5 times 9, and our answer is 45. You got it. Good job. All right. So here they're giving us this problem, and they're showing us that one way to group it would be like this. Remember I showed you that if you group the 2 and the 7, maybe you can. I can't do. That would give me 14 times 4, and that's not a math problem that I have memorized. So in this case, if I group the 4 and the 2 like they did for me here, 4 times 2 is 8. And I bring down that 7 because I didn't use it yet. Oh, I know this one because remember that 5, 6 equals 7, 8. Remember that? 5, 6, 7, 8. 7 times 8 equals 56. Well done, friends. All right, that's all for our lesson today. Go ahead back to Schoology, see what your assignment is for the Ready, Steady, or Go group. And if you're in the Ready group, I'll see you back here at 1:10. Join me at 1:10. Talk to you soon, friends. Great work today.